Welcome back to The Lineup. Week 2 of the NFL season, Week 3 of the college football season. We're here breaking it all down for you across the next 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Croak alongside Joel Palachik and Jake Bowen. We're going to start in the NFL where a Super Bowl 59 rematch between the Eagles and Chiefs was taken by Philadelphia 20-17 at Arrowhead. Joel, what was your number one takeaway from this one?
Saquon Barkley's a great player. All right, in all seriousness, extremely ugly game. 101 passing yards from Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
I mean, they snuck out the 3-point win, but it just was not pretty on either side.
Yeah, neither side getting more than 300 rushing yards, or 300 yards of offense. That was a ridiculously defensive struggle.
Yeah, you mentioned Jalen Hurts. How about Patrick Mahomes? 0-2 to start the season, 187 yards, touchdown, interception. The most surprising thing, a 55% completion percentage. And Patrick Mahomes is a baller. He knows how to complete those passes, especially those tough passes. But now it's on his receivers. You look at Travis Kelce, someone who's always been reliable in these last 5 years for KC. He drops a touchdown pass, slant pass that was, Travis Kelce usually brings those in. It would have gave Kansas City a 17-13 lead, but ultimately they couldn't convert.
Yeah, this is a very concerning game for the Chiefs, in my opinion. And I think that they're going to be fine. 0-2 start. They're a team of their caliber. I'm not too worried long term. But I think that it's not where they want to be, and they have a tough schedule for the rest of the year, obviously. Finish with that first place record in the division. It's not going to get much easier from here on out. We'll see how they're able to pick themselves up. But I think that their offense has really looked really one-dimensional. Mahomes is their leading rusher by almost 80 yards. He has 120 yards. The next closest guy has 47. And they're not going to win many football games doing that, and they need their receivers back badly. Rice and Worthy both out for a variety of reasons at the moment.
And you said 55%?
Yeah.
That's not MVP caliber. Looking like Arch Manning out there. Just absolutely
all right, let's
struggling.
save it. Let's save it, pal. Let's
but
save it.
You were talking about that pick. Kelce juggled it at the goal line, and Andrew Makuba, 41-yard return. That was the turning point of the game. Beginning of the fourth quarter, Chiefs had a chance to turn it into a win, and just couldn't happen.
Yeah, and the most concerning thing is, yes, KC played bad, but Philadelphia arguably played worse, and they still came away with the win. Hurts, you said 101 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Saquon Barkley was their only other redeeming factor on that offense, and so that's concerning for Kansas City. You mentioned it, the schedule. The Giants, who are no easy team, we'll talk about them in a little bit.
Okay.
The Ravens, Jaguars, and Lions. Out of those four next games, 3 of those teams are going to be tough to beat.
For sure. We're going to move on to a different game featuring an AFC squad that's also had some Super Bowl pedigree. Not from winning them, but from being there within the last years. That's the Cincinnati Bengals, who unfortunately are going to be without quarterback Joe Burrow for at least 3 months, if not the remainder of the season, after he suffered a toe injury in this weekend's win against Jacksonville. Bengals did win the game 31-27, but Jake, it can't really feel great if you're a Cincinnati fan after this one.
It's not, and although they're 2-0 with Jake Browning back there for the next 15 games, who knows how well Cincinnati will do. You hate to see Joe Burrow go down. He's gotten injured a lot, the ACL. Now you've got this to end the season. And I always look back at the Cincinnati front office, signing T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to long-term contracts. Instead of addressing the offensive line, you look at Justin Herbert of the Chargers and what LA's been doing. They've been bolstering that offensive line. Joe Wall and Rashawn Slater have been guys that have given Herbert protection, not only on his physical body, but also through the air. And I believe if you have a quarterback like Joe Burrow, Joel, then he should be able to play with receivers not up to the caliber of Chase and Higgins and really bolster that offensive line to give him time.
Right, Jake. We've talked a lot in the past about them going all in on Chase and Higgins, and I honestly thought it would pay off for them, but this game really just proves that it starts up front. You need the protection or you're not going to succeed.
Yeah, I think if you're a Cincinnati fan, you have to be very concerned with the future of the franchise, not just this season. I think this season's done. I think Burrow's not going to come back for at least 3 months, probably, and I wouldn't put it past him to miss the whole season. Mm-hmm. I think that's definitely on the board, if not the more probable outcome of this whole situation. And I think that I have been on the fence about this for so long of I think they can get it done without the O-line. The year that they went to the Super Bowl, the O-line was a big concern, and they managed to overcome it. Chase looks amazing. Higgins is a great wide receiver, the best receiving duo in the league. But I think this year of all, just kind of says like, yeah, you need O-line help badly.
And even if Burrow does come back in those final weeks, I don't know if Jake Browning can make them a playoff team. It would make no sense for him to come back at all. I really don't think we see him again.
Yeah, they'd have to sign.
There's no reason.
They'd have to sign someone who's a free agent. And yeah, Jake Browning, 3 interceptions against the Jaguars in 3 quarters. It's not good.
Right.
And Cincinnati's got a tough schedule. That AFC North is hard. And it's going to be, very hard for them to get a playoff spot with him under center.
Do you think Cincinnati has a future as a playoff team going down the line, or does something have to change in that organization?
I do, because of that receiver talent and how they were able to get to the Super Bowl against the Rams with that offensive line that wasn't good. But they're going to have to address that, and maybe that means letting Trey Henderson go. Maybe that means trading T. Higgins. But they have to, if they want to go back to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, they need to build the offensive line.
Yeah, I think they just need to reevaluate their decision-making in that front office.
Right.
That's where it starts.
Absolutely.
That's where it needs to happen. I still firmly believe in Joe Burrow. I think that in big moments in the playoffs, I'd take him over pretty much any quarterback in the league not named Patrick Mahomes, even with these recurring injuries that may or may not. So I've seen some people start to say like, hey, this is a recurring thing. Maybe it's not the O-line. Maybe Burrow's holding onto the ball too long. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but at this point, because this is now the 3rd major injury he's suffered in his career thus far, you got to consider that. That has to be something that the Bengals are thinking about long term. I think the O-line is still the problem. I think Burrow can still get them far in the playoffs, but they have some serious things to look over in Cincinnati. We're going to move on to the final game of our Week 2 slate that we're going to touch on. This is a barn burner in the 1 o'clock window between the Cowboys and Giants, a rivalry game that really hasn't delivered in recent years, but oh boy did it on Sunday afternoon. Dallas picking up a 40-37 overtime win down at AT&T Stadium. Joel, what did we make of this one? This was a thriller.
I couldn't believe this one. If you told me that this would be the best, most exciting game of the weekend, I'd think you're crazy.
Yeah.
But it was. And a barn burner, that's a great term. 93 passing attempts in this one. Just absolutely insane. They were slinging it all around. Russell Wilson, 450 and 3 touchdowns. So much fun to watch.
Yeah, well, I think if Russell Wilson's thrown for that many yards, that's a Cowboys defense problem, right? Yes. I mean, Russell Wilson is a solid quarterback, yes, but for him to be like that and how efficient he was, it's just something that you don't see.
They miss Micah bad. They need Micah Parsons badly. I mean, I've seen it on the discourse on this game. The fact that you're making Russell Wilson look like prime Russell Wilson this deep into his career after the way he looked last season and then the couple of years before that, I mean, they really need help on the defensive end. Micah Parsons was holding this defense together with all that he could. And now that he's gone, Dallas looks paper thin on that side of the ball. They really looked bad in this one. I can't explain allowing 450 yards to Russell Wilson, a guy who I have historically been low on, even at the peak of his powers, and even more so now. I know you're going to try to say that the Giants are like not a serious contender or anything, but they're a team that you can't underestimate. I disagree with that. Do you think this makes a result like this, even though the Giants lost, means that they're a good team or a team that you can't overlook in your schedule?
It gives the Giants confidence, and when other teams look at this film going into New York, you look at the Chiefs, they're playing them next week, you kind of have to, rethink a little bit, saying, hey, this is going to be a tough team, and it's not going to be. You're not going to walk into MetLife on Sunday.
Does that reflect good on the Cowboys then? What do you think of the Cowboys?
No, like the Cowboys.
But they won the game.
Of course, because of Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah, Aubrey completely saved them. 450 passing yards. I would have thought the Giants would have won, but Aubrey completely bailed them out.
What about this Giants defense? Supposedly the best defensive front in the league, and you're allowing 40 points. That's what I'm going to say. I think both these teams are bad. I don't think either one of these teams is any good. I think they both made each other look good because both their defenses are not playing up to par. The Cowboys defense is just suffering from a lack of talent. The Giants defense, I can't explain it because they do have talent on that unit, and yet they're still getting carved
up. Do you
up.
think the Chiefs walk into MetLife on Sunday with an easy win? What do you think about that? You think
so?
Really? I think they do.
Really?
The Chiefs are 0-2. They're hungry. People are doubting them, and you're going against a Russell Wilson-led Giants team that hasn't shown anything promising to me in my opinion. Come on,
it's in prime time. Blake Neighbors is showing why he's so good.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're going to move on to college football when we come back.